Get you a goat on your back. Let's see.
Let's see.
She'll be right back. Wow, that's cute.
Boy, all animals love me, I guess, today.
Hey everyone, this is April. Welcome back to this new episode of My Solo Chronicles, where in today's show, I'm going to talk about me doing one of my favorite activities, which is yoga. And there's like a twist to me doing this yoga class or this yoga session. The ending was absolutely hilarious. So, I had always seen, you know, YouTube videos. I've always seen, um, different stuff people posted on Instagram or Facebook about doing yoga with puppies. And I'm like, oh, that is so cute. I would love to do yoga with puppies. And, it's very hard, I think, to find yoga classes that actually have that. So I've done regular yoga, I've done hot yoga, which hot yoga takes you to a whole different level. So you got to be really prepared for the heat, even though it's not as hot, but it is very different from regular yoga. When I saw this event that was coming up about yoga with goats, I was like, I think I'm going to do that. I think I want to do it. So I bought the ticket, signing up for the class. And the great thing about this yoga class, it was not only taking place with goats, like I said, but it was actually going to be at this location called the Gamble House. And if anyone knows about Back to the Future, they would so recognize the Gamble House because it was the location of the character Doc Brown, where when he would go back to the past, he was going back to his home where he had his I want to say his laboratory, or where he had his little office where he did his little experiments. So yeah, so this was at the Gabbo House. And I was just like, okay, there's like history behind, where I'm about to go and do this yoga class. So I get there and this location is amazing. It is spectacular. I mean, I was just blown away that I was actually about to go in the backyard of a place that I've seen in a movie that I've seen several times. So we get there, the session was only like an hour long, but they give you, enough time to register and stuff like that before class starts. So you got to kind of see the class before you, what they were doing at the end. And the great thing about the class, and just to give a shout out to Hello Critters, bring their baby goats, and they were so adorable. It was like I think four goats. I'm gonna tell you about the one goat, Lexi. She was so precious, but she had it in for my braids, and it was so funny. But anyways, let you tour at the end of the class. Once the yoga session is done, they let people line up to take pictures in any type of yoga pose that you want with the goats. And that's like towards the end. So you got to see the class before you actually doing that. So you kind of know what was going to happen after our class ended. And I want to say there was probably, it looks like about 15 of us in a class. So it was a pretty big class and it actually sold out fairly quick as well. So I actually lucked up and got these tickets. We get in the class, and as we're starting the yoga class, the yoga instructor tells you, a little bit about, them and why, her and the people that were with her incorporated goats into her yoga sessions. And it makes sense because these goats were so calm, so well behaved. They wasn't vicious or nothing like that, but they I like the disclaimer that they tell you that the goats, because they do they eat grass, and a lot apparently, and they have their other little snacks that are given by the people that's, handling them, that they tend to leave you a blessing on your mat, which they're I don't drink coffee, thank goodness, but their little blessings look like coffee beans, and that's how she described it. And she says sometimes too they'll sprinkle you with more blessings, which it actually happened to one of the girls. And she was a good sport because we all laughed and she laughed about it too, but that's later down the line in the story. She was given just a little history of, why they incorporate the goats and how we had to be set up a certain way because, and I totally agree with this, you're walking in to their little playground. And it's not a huge space, but it's not a small space either. But they wanted us to be situated in a way where the goats could easily, you know, walk around. And when I tell you these goats were walking around, they were literally walking around. They were going in between you. They was going underneath you. They were going on top of your back, leaping from one person to the next. It was funny, but it was relaxing too. And it was enjoyable. And all the people that were working with the goats and the yoga instructor were just like, they were so awesome. It was as we were setting up, they were like I said, they were spacing us in a way that was conducive to how the goats move around in their play area, because she did say it's their play area. And mind you, I came by myself, so I didn't come with anybody. The majority of the people, I want to say just about everybody except for myself and maybe one other girl, they were all in a group. But it was two ladies that I ended up being next to. And they were just so nice. People thought we were actually together, but we were not. As we're getting ready to start our session, the goats were already doing their thing. They were already walking up to you. They were already, climbing stuff. And from what the yoga instructor was saying to us, there are certain poses that mimic what the goats may climb if they were just outside in their natural habitat, which is in the field. Like when you did the downward dog, the goats were gonna, jump on your back, or they may come up behind you and put their little paws. I call it paws. I don't know what you call feet on goats, but they would put their little paws up on your back. And they would I mean, with a little coaching, of course, because they were getting little snacks too. As we're doing our yoga poses and everything like that, these goats were so entertaining that it just like you were getting relaxed and getting into your form, but at the same time you were laughing, just letting out that positive energy. It was just awesome. It was just absolutely awesome. Right off the bat, and remember I mentioned one of the goats, her name was Lexi. Right off the bat, Lexi jumps up on my back. Now, before Lexi did that, there was another goat, and I want to say the goat's name was Hansel. I could be wrong. But out of nowhere, right before we began our session, this goat jumps up on my back. And it caught me off guard because I was like, what the heck? Because I didn't even know, you know what? I didn't even expect it. So it kind of threw me off, and everybody's cracking up. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I was like, I didn't even expect that. The other goat, Lexi, during the session, she jumped up on my back, but then she jumped off. But then she ended up jumping back on my back. And when she's on my back, I feel her petting my shoulder, like taking her hooves. That's what they call it, hooves. Taking her hooves, and she's like hitting my shoulders. And let me just tell you, even though they were jumping up on people, they had little booties on so that they didn't get hurt, as well as the people who they were jumping on didn't get hurt either, which I thought was really, really good. Because, that's the one thing a few people asked me, were like, oh my gosh, did they injure you? Because I mean, they are goats. And it's like, no, they were absolutely protected. Their little hooves were, and of course, us as participants, we were protected as well, so that we didn't get hurt. And they also tell you, once you buy your ticket, they advise you to wear a long sleeve top. Don't come in with a crop top or um anything that's not covering your back, because they are gonna jump on you anyway. So Lexi's on my back for the second time, and I feel her tapping my shoulder. And this should have been an indication of what was about to come next. She literally starts going ham on my, because I had pulled my brain, my bangs. That's it. I pulled my braids up into like a bun. She starts going ham on my braids. She was literally tapping my braids so hard. I mean, she was bopping them. And you can hear like her handler going, "Oh, no, no, don't do that. No, Lexi, we don't do that. We don't do that." I mean, she was going to town, and everybody was trying to do their yoga poses, but we were laughing. I had a hard time keeping my posture because I was laughing. They get her off. And it was just, I swear, Lexi was like, "Oh, today I'm gonna just take apart your braids because you shouldn't have had them up there that high." There was another pose where you kind of, they have you stand like you're literally standing up straight. And they want your legs to be kind of apart, but not too far apart. Because what's going to happen is, because the goats are roaming, they're roaming through your legs. And it's like, if they're gonna go and try to get a treat from a handler that was on the other side, they're gonna go through your legs just to get to that handler that had those treats. So that's one of the things that the yoga instructor was saying, have your legs apart but not too far apart. But just, she was just letting us know, okay, what's gonna happen. Everybody was so nice, and I like that. Even though, like I said, there was myself and another girl that were the only ones that were there by ourselves, you didn't feel like you were by yourself. And I know I said this in previous episodes as well. I've been fortunate enough where if I am by myself, I always tend to end up, you know, meeting people that make me feel like I am a part of their group. And it's not that they're shaming me or anything like that. It's just like, hey, it's nice to meet you. I'm so and so. It was just like the atmosphere made it where everybody was actually communicating with everybody. Nobody didn't feel out of place. And I mean, that's what you want and especially in a yoga class. You don't want anybody to feel like they're the oddball out. You know what I'm saying? Because they're there by themselves. Even the goats, it's almost like they forced you to communicate with other people, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wasn't like standoffish to yourself. If you saw somebody, having a goat stand like on their back, or if a goat is going underneath them as they're doing a down dog, you're gonna turn and talk to that person, and you're both gonna have like this big chuckle. And that's what I enjoyed about the whole entire environment. And it was like, after the session, because the session was, I want to say the session was maybe 30 minutes. And then after the 30-minute yoga session, they have everybody line up afterwards, and like they did with the previous class. And they tell you, now we're gonna, any opportunity that you didn't have to take a photo when a goat was around you, you now have that opportunity to do whatever yoga pose you like and have that goat be either near you or whatever. I was like the third person in line, because the two ladies that I was next to, they were ahead of me, so they were together. It was like me, and then they were ahead of me, and then there was somebody ahead of them, so I was practically like the third person in line. Gets my turn, and this is where it gets interesting. So I was talking to the yoga instructor, and they were telling us, oh yeah, you can do whatever pose you want. Give us your phones and we'll take several pictures, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, whatever y'all do, don't give me Lexi. Lexi was, whoo, Lexi was, she was coming for me. Me and my braid that was in a bun. So the yoga instructor goes, "Oh no." She says if Lexi didn't like you, she wouldn't have came near you. And that's a good point because animals, and I do believe this in my heart, animals know when us humans are up to no good, when our heart and our spirit is not good. And I felt it. And I felt it with the other goat, the one goat. Like I said, I think the goat's name was Hansel, and there was this beautiful white goat, pure white goat. This goat stayed near me a lot. I mean, a lot. I couldn't even move without that goat being like right there. And then there was at one point, I'm trying to pet the white goat, and Lexi literally comes between me and the white goat, and she steps on my toes. And so I have a picture of her literally standing on my feet. So it's just like, okay, Lexi, I see you, girl. I see you. It came my turn to, take my picture, and I decided to go down on all fours because I wanted to get one of the goats on my back because I tried to get pictures when they would like jump on our backs, like especially when we were in a all fours position, and the goats would jump from person to person to person. So I wasn't able to really get a good photo. I get down on all fours, and as I'm getting down on all fours, I hear the people that are also in line, they're like not they're screaming, but it's like an excited type of scream. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Well, this is where the praying mantis comes in. I have never seen a praying mantis in my life up close. As I go to like look at like what is everybody like so excited about? And I hear people saying, "Oh my gosh, it's on her back. Oh my gosh, this is a blessing." And I'm just like, "Okay, what's going on? What they talking about?" I look over my left shoulder and I kid you not, there's a freaking praying mantis on my shoulder. Right when we got ready to pose for our picture, this praying mantis moves to my left shoulders and just strikes a pose. It's just there. And I freeze. And and the lady that's taking the pictures, she literally snapped several pictures, and I actually have one with the praying mantis on my left shoulder. And I'm looking and I'm like, oh my God, oh my gosh, please get it off, please get it off. And one of the I think this lady, she's the main handler of the goats. She takes her hands out and she didn't grab it. She kind of let the praying mantis kind of crawl over to her hand, and she goes, "Oh my goodness, you're gonna get blessed. That's a blessing. You see the way it rested on your shoulder because originally it was directly on my back." And I noticed that that white goat was right behind me and it never moved. The goats never leaped at it, nothing. Well, Lexi came over and it was almost like she was trying to tell me, girl, calm down. It's just a praying mantis. But yes, so they ended up taking the praying mantis off, and the lady that actually took the praying mantis, she was walking around showing everybody, look how big it is. I mean, this thing was big. And I mean, as soon as it hit my left shoulder and I looked, it was almost like, yeah, I'm ready for my close up as well. Thank you. Then I get into my pose that I wanted to do because I wanted one of the goats to get on my back. And of course, who you think it would be that would jump on my back? Miss Lexi. Okay, before I tell you about Miss Lexi, again, just going back a little ways. So remember when I said that they were saying that, oh, these goats will leave you little blessings, whether they're little coffee bean looking poops or um watering the grass. Let's just say watering the grass. The two ladies that were next to me, their yoga mat literally got pelted with goat droppings. And I mean a lot. But the good thing about it is they don't smell. So that was like a great thing that they did not that their droppings don't smell. And then one of the ladies that was all the way in the back, she was like in the third row, like I'm facing like the three rows that are in front of us. Like the row I was in ahead of us, there were three more rows. So we were almost like face to face. And there was one lady in the back. You hear her scream, "Oh my gosh!" Well, one of the goats, and this was a beautiful, this goat was like brown, white, and a little streak of black, literally blessed her yoga mat. And when I say blessed it, she blessed it. And I'm not talking about with goat droppings either. They had to give her a whole new yoga mat. So that was that. But you know what? She wasn't mad. It was just like a fun, hilarious just environment. And the yoga instructor said, you know what, not only will we be doing poses and meditating, but we will also have laughs, and it's good for the soul. It's good that our souls laugh, and we laugh because that was hilarious. Back to my, the end when I'm getting my picture taken. Lexi went to jump on my back, but then she backed off because she got sidetracked, like sometimes I do. Like I always say, I can be walking past something. My focus may be one way. I'll see something somewhere else and go, oh, squirrel. And then my attention is over there. That was Lexi. But then they coached Lexi back on my back, and she did some of the most adorable poses. And then we got almost to when my time was up. Lexi turned when I felt that tap on my shoulder. I said, here it comes. Because remember, earlier when she was on my shoulder when we were doing the session, she tapped me on my shoulder. And to me, I took that as though she was kind of giving me okay, guess what's about to happen. I go, oh, Lexi. And before she started bopping. She bopped my forehead and went for my braids. And you hear the lady that's taking a picture, and you hear everybody else saying, oh no, not the braids. And Lexi she was going to town. But you know what? It just tickled me so much. And they was like, well, Lexi really loves you. You're her BFF. And I'm thinking to myself, Lexi is trying to beat my butt. So once I finished, taking my picture or whatever, I was able to kind of, talk to some people that were there. A few of us exchanged numbers, and the two ladies that I sat next to, they actually ended up, we exchanged numbers, and they sent me photos of pictures that they took on their phones of me, and I thought that was so awesome and just so just they're just so amazing that they did that, and that they thought, hey, we're gonna send you these photos. So leaving there, my spirit was just so high. My spirit was just so full, and I was just so happy and relaxed, because it's just like anytime I have a weekend off from work, I like to do something that's going to relax me and refocus me. And that class was definitely it. And I mean, and the fact that I had a yoga session at the Gamble House at a place that was in a movie. I mean, come on. How many people get to have that opportunity? And on my drive back, I was just like, I can now go on about my Saturday and just enjoy the rest of the day, which is what I did. And I am so happy that I got a chance to do this class, because it was absolutely amazing. Everybody from the yoga crew and the goat handlers that were there to just walking around the grounds, it was just awesome. And it was a great session. It was a great day. That is my solo adventure into doing yoga with goats. Would I ever do it again? I absolutely would, in a heartbeat, because now I know what to expect. So yes, darlings, that is it. Stay tuned for my next episode, where I go into taking a mini vacay up in Topanga Canyon. And let me tell you, what started out as a lunch for one ended up being a lunch for three. And when I tell you, out of everything I've done, this trip was really, really the icing on the cake. All right, my darlings, you take care. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.